Hello and welcome back to the channel of nonsense and a review of not a motorbike. This is a camera review of the DJI Osmo Action 6. There we go. So, action cameras. I've been using GoPros, I've been Team GoPro since the very start, since about 2011 with the old Hero HD. And nowadays, I use my action cameras as tools. I produce 3 long-form videos for YouTube a week across my car and motorbike channels, and I use action cameras in all of them, not for all the shots, but for the in-car stuff and for the chin mount riding stuff and for looking back at me riding stuff. Yeah, I use them, I abuse them, I use them as tools. So this is going to be my opinion on using the Osmo Action 6 as a motor vlogger, and also a few little car bits in there as well. So this isn't a hobbyist review, this is someone who creates content at scale using these things. And I've had it since December, and these are my unpaid, unfettered, honest thoughts, whatever they're worth. Probably not very much. Let's get into it. Right, why did I switch? Well, before this, I was using 2 GoPro Hero 12 Blacks for all of my action camera needs, and that's not the latest version of the GoPro. There's a 13 now, but it's fairly similar to the 12, so I'll be talking about that as I go through. But this Osmo Action 6 is a £300 camera. I paid about £380 as a combo with an extra battery and a few other little bits and pieces. And the reason I finally jumped ship is because this promised something that's very useful for creators like me. It can shoot open gate. What that means is this now has a square sensor. It's 1/1.1 inches big. And that means that it's recording square all the time. So in post, you can crop either like that for YouTube or like that for social media. And you only have to shoot your content once. You're not having to stop, flip your camera around, be like, oh, I need to do the TikTok of that and try and do the same thing. You've just got it in the bag once. Now I'm going to get this out of the way to start with. That's how I used this camera for the first couple of months. And it's been one of my biggest disappointments because when you're shooting it square, it's not as wide angle as when you're shooting in native 16:9. I don't know the technical reasons, there's probably some physics going on, but you would have seen in some of my early videos when I was using this, you felt very close to the handlebars as a viewer. And now I've learned to put it in normal 16:9 letterbox mode in the camera. It feels much wider like my old GoPros used to do. Now, GoPros have been able to shoot almost square for quite a while now as well, and that has the same problem. So it might feel great, but as a motor vlogger, when you're shooting square and you go into that 16:9 in Final Cut or DaVinci Resolve or whatever, it just feels too narrow. You feel too close to the handlebars and you don't get a sense of speed. Now, that has been probably my biggest disappointment with this, but I'm going to tell you about some other ones as well and compare it to my GoPro. Okay, imagine I'm riding the bike. I am currently recording this in the square 1:1 aspect ratio, and I'm going to crop in post to make this landscape for YouTube. So just take a note of how much of the handlebars you can see. And in a second, I'm going to flick to recording natively in 16:9, so I've not done any cropping on that. But this is cropped in from a square. How does it look? Do you feel like you're too close to the bars? We're going to switch over to normal 16:9 out of the camera now. And now we're recording in native 16:9. It's not square, so I can't crop this very well for social media, but I think for my YouTube landscape stuff, this feels wider and you can just see more of the bars, more of my hands, and it just makes you feel a bit less like you're up here. What do you think? Right, now you're back in the square mode, cropped in landscape. I'm just going to show you the neat trick. The whole point of this mode is I can now crop vertically. So look, oh look, now I'm on TikTok. I've got my boobs out to sell some Chinese air fryers or something. Isn't life wonderful? Right, it's got a bit of Blue Peter, but without a dog that dies, making the whole country's children cry. Anyway, GoPro 12 Black as I use it with the media mod. Osmo Action 6 without anything bolted to it. This weighs 149 grams. Without the media mod, this is about 5 grams heavier. With the media mod, that adds 50 grams. This is a lot heavier than this. Right, going back to GoPros, you need a media mod on a GoPro for motovlogging because that adds a 3.5mm jack to run audio. So what I would used to do is run a wired lav mic in my helmet. This is the Liat ADV 8.5. It's bloody brilliant. And I would run that 3.5mm into the GoPro. And the beauty of that is that your audio is recorded straight into the video footage, the file on the camera. You don't have to mess about syncing audio after the event. Downside of that, lav mics and this, they didn't ever really mix, so my audio was never great. There's some green lanists coming. Why I bought this, another reason I bought the Osmo Action 6, is because I use DJI wireless mics and everything I do. This is a DJI Wireless Mic 3. I run this into the receiver on my proper camera, which at the moment is a Lumix S5 II. That's great for this stuff. I do feel like we're being attacked by the Luftwaffe today, hang on. Yes, so I've already got a set of DJI wireless mics, and what you can do is connect one of these to this, and it will do the same thing as plugging in a lav mic. It will record the audio straight to the video file, and that means that I can be sneaky and stick the DJI wireless mic in the helmet lining there, and that means that I can just have a microphone recording to the camera wirelessly. That's amazing, no more wires. Downside, it sounds absolutely terrible, almost unusable. So don't go and buy a DJI Osmo Action 6 thinking you're going to use your wireless mics and just record straight into this, because it will sound almost unusable. Really tinny, it's clipping all the time. Even with the gain on the mic turned down to minus 12 dB, it just sounds awful. And I thought, oh, that's scuppered. But these DJI Mic 3s have got a clever thing. They can record audio internally in a 32-bit float format, which means it's almost can't clip, it can't get distorted. The only faff is you then need to plug your microphone case into your laptop when you get home and get the audio files off separately and sync them up. So it's extra faff in my workflow. But the flip side is, with that 32-bit float audio, I've now got what I think is the best audio I've ever had in motorbike videos. But my God, it is a little bit more of a faff. And yes, I know I don't have a high bar for good audio. I've always been really rubbish at it.
Now, I've touched on this already, but the Tenere 700 has really lovely road manners, even when you fitted it with some pretty extreme knobbly tyres on off-road pressures at running 25 psi at the moment, these Mitas tyres. It's a real joy to ride on the road. Now, yes, the AX40 ones I had on before. Okay, so you're hearing the 32-bit float file from the microphone's internal storage, so I'll probably talk a little bit more quietly here. But this is a very noisy bike, very noisy helmet, doing 55 miles an hour. That's what you're hearing. Now I'm going to switch to what the camera is hearing, and you'll hear a big old difference to that. And now you are hearing what the camera is hearing. So this is being wirelessly transmitted from the microphone in my helmet to the camera, and this is just what the camera file has got on it. It normally sounds quite tinny, quite clippy, doesn't deal well with me talking and all the wind noise and all the rest of it. And then let's flick back to the 32-bit float file. So the beauty of this is you can adjust it a lot more so it's not going to be clipping, and that tends to be what I use for my videos. So which do you prefer? Well, hopefully it's obvious. My feet are very wet.
But what you can do is you can get a dongle to go into this, which adds a 3.5mm jack socket on it, so I could go back to using wired lav mics. However, that takes off a reasonably large door on the side of it, and then if it rains, it's not very waterproof. Yes, technically, the GoPro that I've been using for years and years and years technically isn't waterproof when you put the media mod on it, but I've not really had any problems filming in the rain with it on tours and things like that. So yeah, audio does sound better, but I've now got quite a faffy workflow. But the camera is physically smaller and neater than my old GoPro setup. Right, let's change the shot and I'll show you stuffing it up my face. Okay, let's talk about the thing that's really almost most important for making videos with an action camera. Image quality and dynamic range. When I first got this, and I strapped it on my helmet and rode around, I thought, oh, this looks worse than my GoPro 12. In my head, this just isn't quite as good at holding highlight detail in the sky and providing a nice balanced image, and when it does try to do that, it looks a bit fake HDR-y. Now I'm going to put some side-by-side shots in here because I think I've actually mellowed on the image quality of this over time, and now I think I probably, like for like, prefer it to the GoPro, but I don't actually know. I'm going to make my own decision and write on screen what I think, because I think it is that marginal, really. It's just a different look. Now, I tend to shoot flat with this, with a D-Log profile, and I grade it a little bit in post. I slap a LUT on it from DJI to make it look more natural, and then I kind of tweak it a little bit. I'm recording using both the GoPro 12 Black and the Osmo Action 6 in there as close as they can get to square modes, both shooting with their normal width lenses, nothing ultra wide here, and they're both shooting flat color profiles. Yeah, if I stand here, I'm going to crop these horizontally so you can see what they look like cropped at 16:9. Okay, this is a comparison to show GoPro 12 Black and the Osmo Action 6 in a normal wide 16:9 recorded in camera, 4K 30 frames per second. their most natural wide angles. How do they look? How does the footage compare? You've got some kind of blues in the sky. The camera's both picking those up. Which one is showing the most foreground detail? I'll put my comments on the screen. Now, let's point out some things that have happened since this came out. They added a new firmware update to it, which means it can shoot in 8K at up to 30 frames per second. I've fiddled with it a little bit, but it's really noisy. I don't really love the way it looks. And also, it just chomps up storage space. So for me, doing YouTube videos, which people are watching on their phones on the toilet most of the time, I don't really care that it's got 8K. The GoPro shoots up to 5.3K normally, and you normally use this in 4K mode. Slow mode, this will do 4K 120, same as the GoPros as well. Hiya, you're right. I was going to get mugged for a second there. So yeah, you can do 4K slow-mo on these, no problem. I never use that, so that's fine. But image quality is kind of neither here nor there. The only thing I would point out is this can't focus as close as my old GoPro. So when I'm bolting this on the back of a car to get some exhaust shots, everything's a little bit blurry. Now, you're going to be sitting there thinking, oh, Rody, you've not spoken about the variable aperture. Yes, this Action 6 was famous when it came out because it's the first action camera with a variable aperture. It can go from like f2 to f2.8 or something like that. Never used it, don't notice it, not any use to me. You're not going to be getting out of focus bokeh with this. And actually the sensor in this isn't as nice as the one in something like a DJI Osmo Pocket 3. So don't expect it to look like a mirrorless camera. You're on a mirrorless camera now, but that, with that lens, is about $3,000. Okay, so far you might be getting the impression that I'm moderately whelmed by the switch from GoPro to the DJI Osmo Action 6, but there are some things I really do like about this that will now keep me in the DJI ecosystem. Number one, the magnetic mounting point. So you get two of these little bracket things in the kit with the camera, at least I did with my 380 quid bundle, and then to attach it, it clicks on like that. That's it. I don't have to screw things in and out all the time. I just leave that on my helmet, and then taking it off is super easy as well. Another thing I really like, I've never managed, working on a Mac, to get my GoPro to show me the files just by plugging the camera into my Mac. I've always had to faff about, taking the memory cards out, putting them in a card reader, yada, yada, yada. This, I can just plug in and Final Cut is like, yeah, I see your files, mate. I'm going to bloody give them to you. Yeah, I didn't have that with my GoPro. Other things that I really like about this camera, battery life. The battery life on the GoPro is fine with the Enduro batteries. I'm not going to give times because it varies depending on temperature and how much pornography you're recording or live streaming. This lasts so much longer. I can leave this running for half an hour and I'll come back and it's only lost like 25% battery or something, whereas the GoPro would be toast or getting close to being toast. I haven't timed it, but when you're on a tour, being able to just not change batteries as much is a huge, huge deal. I'm very impressed with that. The stabilization, I should mention as well, is very good. I don't know if it's better or worse than the GoPro, but it does just make everything look super smooth when you want it to. You don't get any weird wobbly corners or anything like that, unless I'm wobbling in the corner. But yeah, that is very good. And also, I've got some ND filters for this, and they just clip over the front, the official DJI ones. I've not used them yet because it's been too dark, because it's the depths of winter, and that's just a bit depressing. One thing I forgot to mention that I like about the Osmo Action 6, it has 50 gigabytes usable of internal storage. So if you haven't got an SD card, you forget it, you can still record a decent amount of footage without having to go crying to an SD card shop. Not that those exist. Okay, hopefully this has been sort of useful. To sum up, this is a good camera. It is not bad. It's probably the best action camera I've ever used, but for me, it's still not fully fleshed out and it doesn't have all the features that I need as a motovlogger. It doesn't go wide enough in that 1:1 square mode. I wish it could record the 32-bit float audio directly into the camera and embed it in the video file. Then it would be getting a 10 out of 10, but at the moment it's sort of an 8 out of 10. If you've got GoPro stuff, stick with GoPro. If you've got DJI stuff, go with DJI, but it's just the most whelming DJI product I've used in ages. I mean, it's just doesn't blow you away. I wasn't excited about it when I started using it. I think things like the DJI Mic 3s are absolutely brilliant. The 32-bit float, that excites me. The DJI Neo 2 drone that I've been using, that is one of my favorite things in the past couple of years. DJI, you get me excited about gadgets, but this ain't it. It works as a tool. I can use it, but I am very close to just going back to using a wired lav mic into it, to be honest. But anyway, hopefully this has been helpful by telling you that it's okay. If you've liked this, give me a thumbs up. If you've got questions or comments, leave them down in the comments. Subscribe to my channel where I'll be doing a review of, well, motorbikes soon. And I shall see you next time. And tell me what I missed and got wrong. Oh, you idiot.